Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Safe Room. I'm your host, the President Sean Williams, and today we're back with another episode right here at our house CEO pop-up. Shout out to Jeff in the background with all the cameras and the mics. It's him. He makes it happen.
It's Timothy.
Yes, sir. Hey, amen to that. Amen to that. If you hear the voice, obviously I got someone very special, someone I met. I believe it was over IG Live.
I think that was after we initially met at the Business in the Streets event.
Yes, the social.
Yeah, we got our socials from there, and then we really connected on IG Live after that. Yeah.
Listen, everything's been a blank to me, so I don't remember much. Okay, so don't blame me.
It's all a blur. It's
all a blur. But today, as someone I've been wanting to get on the podcast for a while, and I'm telling you, if you are here to just get that affirmation and that just self-drive, maybe you're in a rut and you're trying to look for that motivation, or even if someone you're looking for resources in terms of like grant writing, which is someone like yourself, you are specializing. Yes. Definitely keep in touch with her. Today we got Taejah, a.k.a. Millionaire Mommy. How's it going?
I am so blessed to be here. This setup that you have, I feel very, I don't want to say Hollywood, but very famous being up here. So I feel good. I feel great.
It's nothing. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. But I'm excited to have you on because, again, we met at Bits, and that was such a fantastic time. And shout out to Business in the Streets. So a lot of things are coming up to me. If you know, you know. Well, I know, and I'm a little scared, but we ain't gonna talk about it. We ain't gonna talk about it.
We'll talk about that later.
Exactly. But I definitely resonated with some of the things that you were doing on your page, especially Instagram. You are someone who's very active when it comes to supporting different people, whether they're an entrepreneur or an artist, or even someone who's just looking for that motivation, that push and self-drive. And that's something I really appreciate.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, I'm really glad that you're on here to kind of share what community that you're building, because I definitely want to share it with my people, let people know that it's not always going to be just I'm gonna bring in someone professional. It's sometimes you just need that self-love.
Yeah, it's very important. It's very important. So so my name is Millionaire Mommy, and I consider myself, because I'm making my own role and making my own way, I don't necessarily have a job title. It's fluent. So sometimes I call myself an inner child healer. Sometimes I call myself a wealth and wellness coach, but that's what sticks the most. Wealth and wellness coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that though.
Thank you.
Because everyone kind of assumes if you're not working for a company or an organization, then it's just I'm an entrepreneur. But even for you to say you don't really have a job title, but you kind of have things that associate with you strongly based on the things that you provide. It's interesting.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I kind of like that. But we're definitely gonna get into some of the things that you work so heavily on. And guys, I can testify this because I'm in a couple of her different channels on Instagram. She be posting stuff daily, multiple times in a day. So you're extremely active.
Yes. So if you are in those channels, as a tip, because I do love to share resources, is if you don't like the constant notifications, definitely mute that. Definitely mute that. And I encourage people to take a day out of the week. For me, it's Sundays to really recalibrate and reset. And that is when I will kind of do my scrolling and then write down, okay, these are the deadlines that are coming up. These are the ones that are closest. And so let me map this out into my schedule. And that's how I go about not making it be so overwhelming.
Yeah, listen, I definitely need to work on my time management because it is shit.
I can help you with that.
Yeah, we might have to have a conversation afterwards. But let's get into our opening segment, which is our hot seat segment. And
let's do it.
It's again I know she's ready because she had notes, ladies and gentlemen. She had a pair of notes. I'm talking like a booklet. Just
let's do it.
I'm very curious what you have down. So let's get right into it. So the first question. So outside of your work, of what you do, tell me something about yourself in one sentence.
Okay, so just to make it simple, I'm a homeschool mom. But even saying outside of your work is very tricky because I literally sat down and said, how do I make a lifestyle or a living out of what I'm already doing? And I'm already a mom. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I'm already somebody who's going through this process of healing myself. And so to take people with me is nothing because it's something that I already was going to do. But yeah, outside of my work, I am a homeschool mom. Yeah.
And like that's absolutely incredible, man. Because I know I've seen your son, and like he's very energetic, which is great, which is really
Which is
great.
great. Which is great.
But I definitely know like there's a lot of responsibilities that go through that, and for
Yeah.
you to kind of have that work-life balance in a sense, just with what you're doing, but also being a mother and taking care of your child,
Mm-hmm.
it shows the strength and resilience for
Thank
sure.
you.
So like I really appreciate how
Thank
you're
you.
always trying to find like the best in what you're doing, and
Yeah.
also find ways to just help people in
Man,
the same time.
exactly.
So that's
Exactly.
really good. I like
Thank
that.
you.
Okay, let's go on to the next one. So what is one affirmation you always keep for yourself?
Okay, so when we were doing our little mic check 1 2 1 2, I was saying it, and that is money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways.
Mm,
All right, because we talked a little bit about how I help with grant writing, being a person who's been blessed to receive a couple grants, and
right,
so
right.
it's very, very important. With the grant writing that I'm doing, obviously I see a deadline, I see a grant, that's an expected way. Or even sometimes grants can be unexpected because you don't know if you're going to get them or you're going to get them or not, right? But I like to say that one because I do believe there's always opportunities whether we can see them or not. And it's just about kind of showing up, and then you will be blessed with things that you didn't even know were on the table. So I
Right.
really, really like to say that one.
I like that. I didn't
Yeah.
even know when you were like reiterating that during the mic check that was going to be your answer. So it's like foreshadow right there.
Yes,
That's
yes.
absolutely insane, but I love that. Okay,
Yeah.
the next question I have, an interesting fact that you rarely share about yourself.
Okay. A lot of people might see me now and feel as if like I haven't really been through hard things, because I try to speak about the light most times, or
Mm-hmm.
the positive things. But a lot of people may not know that, I've stayed in a shelter before, or that I used to be like in the fast life doing crazy
Uh-huh.
things, that I've been arrested twice. You know what I
Wow. I
mean?
definitely did not know that.
Arrested twice on drug charge. You know what I mean? Like, a
Wow.
lot of people don't know that side of it, and yeah, that being the reason why it's so necessary for me to be positive and forward movements.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just to kind of follow up on that, like what would you say to someone who's kind of going through those same things? Maybe not the exact same thing as you, but can relate to some of the things that you went through. How can they find ways to be positive?
If I had to say or say something to somebody who went through or is going through what I went through, is to, and I've heard it before, but to keep going. Because if
Mm-hmm.
you're in hell, it doesn't make sense to stay there. So that's what I would say, for the people, that even if you're in an environment where it looks crazy, you never know. Like, in a year from that point, you could be in a completely, even from a month from that point, you can be in a completely different situation.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. And
Hmm.
like again, I didn't even know that. I feel like if I didn't ask that question, I
You
would have
wouldn't have
never
known. Yeah.
unlocked those things. But I think that's
Yeah.
what's so beautiful about this podcast. It's not only like providing, informative content and information to, listeners, but kind of uncovering different pieces about different individuals, which is
Right.
really great. And I really
Hmm.
appreciate you kind of sharing that because you didn't
Thank
need to go
you.
that deep.
Thank you.
You didn't need
Thank
to, but I really
you.
appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so I want to go to the last question for this hot seat segment. What is your personal safe room?
My personal safe room would definitely be my journal and the relationships that I've cultivated. So, I mean, even this conversation with you, like, I've been in a lot of unsafe relationships.
Yeah.
So I can kind of discern what is safe from what's not safe. And so that's another thing that I would tell, to people who are going through it. Like, sometimes you are put in situations that are unsafe or bad just so you can recognize, like, what is good. And
Mm.
so, yeah, my personal safe room, definitely the relationships that I've cultivated, and my journal for sure.
I love that little
Hmm.
last bit, being placed in those unsafe situations so you know what is good.
What
That
is,
that's a
yeah, what
word
is
right
safe?
there.
Yeah.
That
Pew, pew,
is a word.
pew,
I
pew.
know that's listen. Like I know you're just warming up too. I know she's got way more in the bag. So
Yes.
okay, but yeah, that was perfect.
Thank
A
you.
great way to start the episode. I really love.
Hmm.
I feel like I'm getting positive energies. Yeah, I want to get into the community that you serve, and again,
Hmm.
I feel like there's so much. There's like Millionaire Mind Tribe. There's like
Yeah.
your channel for grants,
Right.
workshops, funding. There's a lot, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen. I wish I could sit down here and like break down in the
Yeah.
context, but
Yeah.
just tell me about the community you serve and how you offer your time to support entrepreneurs, and not even entrepreneurs, but
Yeah.
just individuals to help with their wellness, their mental health, and their well-being.
Sure. So I'll tell you how it all started. And so maybe 3 years ago, I worked at the hospital. And this is when the pandemic was starting and all
Right.
of that, right? And so I was not gonna participate in staying in the no,
Yeah.
So I had quit at that point. And that was the start of a lot of adversity for me, right? But it also was the start of my entrepreneurship journey. And
Mm-hmm.
I started this journey doing Forex and trading and crypto. So
Mm.
according to who you ask, they'll know me for a different thing. Like somebody may know me for grant writing, somebody might know me because of homeschooling, some people may know me because of the trading and then the
Mm.
Forex. But I started off building communities there of people who are looking to change their situation financially. And being in that community is where I really got introduced to personal development,
Mm-hmm.
because emotional intelligence is extremely important if you are
Yes.
trading in the markets. And so I started to cultivate my emotional intelligence through there. And then, me being a person who loves to read, I initially had a community on Telegram, and that was a community of 1,800 people, and it was surrounding books.
Okay.
So unfortunately, like, it's no longer a thing. Somebody like reported the group because of the
Oh.
books, hater,
Mm.
whoever you are, you know what I mean? But I still have access to those books.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So it really did start off with one book,
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorite books ever, which is The Celestine Prophecy. If anybody needs that book, at Millionaire Mommy on Instagram,
Go
you can
check it
ask
out.
me for that. But it started off literally because I wanted somebody to read the book. And then
Mm.
she read a couple of chapters, and then she in our main group was like, this book is so good. So then I had about 5 other people ask, can I join this group? And it started from 1 to 6 to 1,800 people.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so I've always loved kind of having discussions around the things that I'm studying, because I feel that it helps me come to a deeper understanding of it.
Right.
If I'm able to have a mastermind with you and talk, you might add insight that I never had, And so that's where my community building started. It's evolved now. I trade on my own. I do start to intend to start something like that again in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
But the community as of right now is based off of wealth and wellness. Because that's where
Okay.
it started. And so I have a community called the Millionaire Club. That is a membership thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 1111. Like the angel numbers is 1111 to join the membership community. That's on Telegram. I also do have broadcast channels that are on Instagram, and that's completely free. And that's
Yeah.
because I mean, you can't stop me from sharing resources. Like, that's one of my favorite
It's like I
things.
gotta do it.
Yeah, I'm so resourceful that I
Mm.
have a lot to share. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so they can see my funding channel on Instagram. I have one that is called the Millionaire Mind Tribe,
Yeah.
which is just people who have the same kind of goals that I do. Maybe you want to go off grid, maybe you want to homeschool, maybe you want to quit your job and figure out what you're going to do, because that is the community that I'm serving. It is the people who know that their destiny is not behind a desk and who are
Mm.
currently still sitting behind one,
Yeah.
and they want to find their purpose, or I call it their ikigai. And I can speak a little bit
Okay.
about what that is, but their purpose.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know what? Like, I'm not gonna play devil's advocate. I'm trying to like, make sure
Mm,
that like, we're continuing the conversation. So
mm-hmm.
you mentioned that there might be some people who like, if they want ready to quit their job and like kind of go into that entrepreneurship realm, then they can. But let's say I'm that person, like I'm not so sure about that. It's just like maybe for me, it's like I'm doing fine with my job, or better yet, like I don't think entrepreneurship is something I can really lead into. Like, what would be something that you would tell an individual that still allows them to feel that
Perfect
they can,
question.
like get into like the flow of like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm still having a stability within my like personal and professional career, and without having all of that stress. Like, what would you tell someone like that?
Sure. The 3 main pillars in the Millionaire Club is know thyself, heal thyself, and grow thyself. So I'm a person who utilizes spirit science. And I feel like that's the difference between maybe me and a lot of entrepreneurs, is that I utilize things like human design and astrology, because
Right.
those things have answered quite a lot of questions for me. and have confirmed a lot of things to me about what my purpose is. So I always thought that I should do something. I always felt in my spirit that I should be doing something different. Those modalities, the astrology and the human design, have acted as, oh my gosh, this resonates. Like
Yeah.
it says that right there too. So it's not like it was telling me what to do. It was more so confirming what I already know in myself and that other people have tried to tell me, no, you're not supposed to do that. Or
Right.
you're not supposed to do that, right? And so I do offer free consultations on quite a bit of things: grant writing, homeschooling, creative income, crypto. But another thing that I also do are readings.
Okay.
And so I do readings, I do children's charts. So if you want to know, like, me and my kid are not getting along, why is that? I feel that in order to have a good relationship, you have to know who that person is. So
Yeah.
that's the know thyself portion. And so if you are a person who's looking for a job, you have to know who you are first, because
Mm.
that's going to tell you what's, those career aptitude tests.
Yeah.
So think of like my readings as like a more detailed aptitude test.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Where I'm able to see how you communicate, what makes you angry, who you are when you're in closed doors, aside
Right.
from who you are when you're networking. Do you know
Mhm.
what I mean? Through my own readings that I can see, or it was confirmed that I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing. And so for those who are not sure, I would suggest book a reading with me on
Okay.
vocational guidance, career guidance. And then we can kind of look at your sun, your moon, your rising, as well as your Mercury, to determine what, not necessarily what you should do, or give you a couple options of a
Right.
direction to go in. Yeah.
I like that. I like
Mm-hmm.
that. It's a very unique way of, like, how you stand out compared to like other individuals, because I know people have that fear of, when it comes to entrepreneurship, going into it itself, it's hard. And like,
Yeah.
I think for you
Yeah.
and I, like, we're also trying to figure out our own stuff, as much as many entrepreneurs who maybe listen to this podcast,
Yeah.
or even within our circle and our connections. It's an ongoing thing. And even times where you think you've reached a pivotal point where, like, okay, I did this, there's
Mm-hmm.
always like more left to like learn and
Yeah,
discover. And
about yourself. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Because there's a lot of people who start doing things and they're like, actually, I don't like this. That's you. That is one way of getting to know yourself, through doing.
Right.
Right? Through doing. Like, that's one way to learn. But there's a quicker way.
Right.
And that is kind of just, okay, let me look at this first before I start applying. So I don't
Mm,
have to waste that time putting in hours. And I could put the hours in something else that was more fulfilling to me.
right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I really loved everything that you said. I think that's really important. And again, you mentioned so much. You mentioned financial, like, literacy, grant writing, crypto. I know for me in crypto, it's like, I'm not into it yet, but like, obviously I
Yeah.
can't deny the trend and the amount of people
Yes.
talk about. So like,
Yeah.
how would you say, in terms of like you learning all those things? Like, was it all at once, or did you kind of learn one thing and then just kind of expand it to other pieces?
Well, okay. So this is how spirit science kind of helps in learning how my mind works. And so there's a different kind of human designs. I'm a manifesting generator, right?
Ooh, hold on. You have to say that one more time for the camera.
Yeah, I am a manifesting generator.
Mm,
And so the way that I'm built, I have the capacity to receive information very fast. And I also have the capacity to be good at a variety of things all at the same time.
all
Right? You know
right.
that movie, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once? That can be difficult because any other person might say you need to focus or you need to stick with one thing. Right? But I know that I'm a multi-faceted interest, right? And so,
Mm,
and I do believe that certain things are connected too. Like,
mm,
I'm very interested in tech and I'm also interested in farming, but there's themes between farming and tech that are similar. Do you know what I
okay.
mean?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so my brain has just been able to merge certain things. So I do feel it's all connected, And so I would say for anybody who's looking to get into crypto, don't necessarily get into it for the money like I did. And
Mm,
it's something where you can't just learn it because there's something new that's always happening.
right, right.
So I would say that it's not necessary that everybody gets crypto, but it's necessary that everybody learns about it.
I think that's really important, because
It's necessary
again,
that everybody learns about it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I feel like with everything happening now, when it comes to like like technological advances, like even
Yeah.
AI is something that I think you really can't refute to, that
Yeah.
a lot of people are trying to like get into tune to figure out
Right.
how they can use it for their own businesses.
Right.
Even seeing it like the Be Future Tech Summit just happened recently, and
Mhm.
obviously there's
Mhm.
aspects of AI even when the Elevate Summit happened as well. There's so much of AI and
Mhm.
cybersecurity being talked about. So it's like you said, like you're learning different things, but at the same time, there's always new stuff
There's
coming up.
always new stuff to learn. So that's another thing. I was on a crypto for the culture. I was on a crypto conference yesterday, and that was another thing that was a very good point. Was
Right.
that know what it is you're learning crypto for? There's
Right.
so many use cases for crypto. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a whole community of people who do DeFi gaming.
Okay, I see. I
So, you
see.
know, so if you're a gamer, that may be a good place to start. You know
Right.
what I mean?
I think it is
Hmm.
important, especially learning so much that you can offer. And again, you kind of manifest and generate. That's still ringing to me because again, you saying you can take information very quickly and like
Yeah.
kind of disperse it
Yes.
using like your spiritual science, your different methods,
Yeah.
modalities. I think that's like that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a trait that I feel a lot of people don't really like tap in or not even see like that. So I
Yes.
think that's
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah. It helps me know the way that I should even launch things. If I know I'm a person who has several interests and I like to go to things fast, that means that it wouldn't make sense for me to have a 3 month long program. By the second
Yeah.
month, I'm going to be done. I'm going to be like, let's move on. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, okay, if I'm launching something, I do it over the weekend or, you know what I
Mm.
mean? Something because I know that I'm going to be on to the next, I'm going to be on to the next thing.
Right,
Yeah.
right, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. Okay, going on to the second question I
Hmm.
have. So, being a mompreneur, again, a mother, an entrepreneur, what are some of the pressures behind sharing those resources with your community while like raising the son in the process?
Really, there's not, I wouldn't say pressures. If anything, in this economy, I know how important it is to share it. So, being a mom who is very blessed to have eliminated a lot of her expenses, I
Mm-hmm.
do know that there's quite a bit of people who have a lot of expenses and more than one kid.
Yeah, yeah,
So, I have
it's
one kid and it can be challenging. So, I look at my friends who have 2 kids or 3 kids and I'm like, damn, like you you are the real
it's just
millionaire
like
mom.
yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know, bless y'all for real, and bless the
Mm-hmm.
billionaire dads too. Like it's not just millionaire
Mm,
moms, we have our
yeah,
billionaire dads too. But I think that it's so important in this economy to share the resources because $20 is not getting you much at the grocery store, you know, so you really have
uh-huh.
to make your money stretch in every single other way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, just for any mom listening, I'll share a couple right now, or any parent listening. The welcome policy. So,
Mm,
that is something provided by the city of Toronto.
yeah.
And I don't know for the people who live in the GTA or even for the global listeners what your alternative would be. But in the city of Toronto, the welcome policy is a program that gives your kids or even yourself as a parent free recreation credits.
Okay.
So as a homeschool mom, if I didn't have access to stuff like that, you just would not have access to stuff like that, you know, because it's yeah, you just would not have access. And so with the welcome policy, I put him into cooking. I put him
Okay.
into martial arts, soccer, hip
Mm,
hop dance. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
And yeah, me being a parent who can also look at his chart and look at the different things that he's interested in, that helps me pick the program.
Right.
Right? What else do they have? They have a lot of grassroots programs,
Mm-hmm.
early on centers, which was like
Yes.
my saving
Yes.
grace for socialization. That's one of the questions I get asked most because I'm homeschooling.
Right.
How does he socialize with other kids? So
Mm-hmm.
he has all these programs that he can go to. So early on centers is a big one. Grassroots programs. So people with an idea or an intention, just like me, who have created grassroots programs.
Yeah.
There's the reason why my son goes to hockey for free, right?
Mm.
And so, like, for those of you who are paying for hockey and paying for football, y'all know how expensive that
It's
can get.
it ain't cheap. It ain't cheap. I'll tell you
Like the
that.
equipment alone, never mind your actual season. You know what I mean? So I think it's extremely important for moms and people to have those resources.
And
Otherwise, who's my son gonna play with?
yeah.
Like,
It's just like if you're playing soccer, listen, we're gonna have to just tape some wood on your
yeah,
shin.
yeah,
Just work for
exactly,
nah.
exactly. Yeah,
I,
no.
obviously I'm joking, guys. I'm
Right.
joking, but no, I
Some people gotta do that,
yeah,
you know.
I feel you because like,
Mhm.
and again, it goes back to your ability to tap into different resources. And
Yeah.
just a little follow up. What would you say in terms of the people you connected with when they're trying to access said resources is like the biggest difficulty? Because I know some people say that, oh, like I can't find it, but then for someone else, maybe yourself, like it's out there. It's just like accessibility issues and everything in terms of like where you can actually access it on certain sites, maybe in person. Like what would you say is the most common thing that someone would tell you in terms of like I can't find a resource to maybe help my son or help my daughter, help my child get into like these free programs, this and that.
I think that people are just so busy. So for me to map out my day or my week, that takes time. You know what I mean? That takes careful consideration, and careful consideration takes time. And a lot of people don't have time. So to sit down and read their kids' chart and see what do they like. Okay, let me put them in that. All right, what days do I have available to get them in this program? A lot of people look at their schedule and they don't have any days available.
Right.
It becomes hard to plan and organize those things because then you have to think of, okay, well, who's gonna bring them there, and it becomes this
Mhm.
whole thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so again, that leads right back into why it's important to find your purpose, because you shouldn't be giving your time away without having
Mhm.
the time to do those kinds of things for yourself.
That's so true. That's so
Yeah.
true. And like you mentioned, like some people are busy with time, and even to add on to that, sometimes they have the time, but they just don't know how to like manage it. And I'm gonna put myself on
Yes.
blast. I'm shit at time management. I'm terrible, and that's something I'm even trying to like figure out myself. So,
Mhm.
do you think it's also a matter of if you have time, but maybe it's like you don't know how to manage it well? Let's say for someone like myself, you are doing so much things. Let's say you have meetings, you have like different events that you have tend to, or maybe you have like consultations with clients, and you start to tell yourself, you know what? I actually can manage all of this. I told myself I can, but I
Mhm.
can't. Like,
Mhm.
would
Mhm.
you feel like it's the time where you have to like peel back from certain responsibilities and say, okay, I have to focus more, especially for maybe mompreneurs or like dadpreneurs as well?
Well, yeah, definitely hone down on what is important so you're not just doing everything. You know what I mean? Hone down on what's important. Because there's a lot of people that are self sacrificing. So they just do this and this and this for everybody else
Right.
when they can do that. Do you know what I mean? Themselves. And so I would say that. I'm sorry, repeat your question one more time.
Yeah, so like in terms of just, if you have time, but maybe you
Hmm.
just can't manage it right.
Okay.
Like do you feel people should like take the time to say, you know what, if I can't do everything, I should probably step away from certain responsibilities because you even mentioned it. There's certain things that other people can do.
Hmm.
So like do you feel like that's something people should really practice?
So drawing back to the time, right? A lot of people have time, but they don't have the right time.
Right.
So you can finish cooking, you can finish cleaning, right? And then you sit down, right?
Hmm.
And that might be a block of time that you can use to do something else.
Yeah.
But you've already done all of this stuff. So
Hmm.
you may just want to relax. Do you know what I mean? And I believe that you should time block for that too. A lot of people give themselves tasks to do for the day, but they don't block out times where they should relax, right? So I feel like once your day starts going and you start doing things, that's when you should map out your time to relax. But I also think that you can create time.
Right.
And that is by opening up a time block that you might not have opened up. And for me, that's the morning. And so, for anybody who's struggling with time management, I strongly encourage you to see how I manage my time. And that is, I carve out time because I understand as a homeschool mom, once my son wakes up at 9, we are with each other for the rest of the day. I don't drop him off to school and
Yeah.
then get a break. I have to then be with him, right?
Hmm.
And we like to do things. We like to go to the science center with the welcome policy credits, right? The Ripley's aquarium and all of that stuff. And so I like to use my days for activity, right?
Hmm.
And so the only time for me as a millionaire mom where I could really have no noise is when he's sleeping.
Right.
you know. And one of the best times to reset and start off your day is obviously the rising. I don't like
Right.
to use morning, sorry, because we don't like to mourn as we rise, right? And we don't like to be
Mm.
awake, because awake is a funeral
Wait,
proceeding for the
hold
dead.
on, hold on.
Okay, sorry.
Listen, you're going. Wait, we have to put on URL smack. Just put her in the middle of a rap battle. Just like start putting bars on bars on bars.
I'm crying. I try to watch the words that I use, because there's power in the tongue and etymology, and this language was created so that we can keep ourselves down. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll speak about that in a sec, but that's why I call it a rich rising and
Yeah.
not a Monday morning. I don't want to be mourning on Mondays. Like, nah, I don't want to do that.
That's really good. And like I'll be honest, I was listening to everything you were saying in terms of like time management, because you talked
Yeah.
about not only like taking a break, and that's something
Mhm.
that on sometimes I'll do that, but other times I will be working constantly, and I think I need to tell myself to take a break, but also
And then what
create time.
happens? You burn out, and that's much more time than you would have just given yourself,
Right.
right?
And like
So
when
it's
you
like you're
burn
gonna take
out,
the time.
it's terrible, because
Yeah.
like now when
Now
you
you
burn
don't.
out,
Now the time may not even end. Like you may
Yeah.
just stay burnt out.
yeah, you're just like, I don't want to do nothing for the rest of the day. But you also mentioned like create time in moments you didn't think you could.
You
So I
could.
think that kind of subsets from taking that break. So you take that break, and then you realize, okay, oh snap, like I have some time to like work on something like late at night, maybe like 11 a.m. to like 11
So
p.m.
you want
to
me to
1
take you
a.m.
through like a Millionaire Mommy day?
Listen, like we
Yeah?
have to talk over the camera
Yeah,
about that
yeah.
one. Just like
Yeah. Okay.
so like, but it's good because it's not just for me, but I think for the listeners as well. There
Mhm.
are people who may be struggling with time management, and like
Yeah.
those words you mentioned, finding time for yourself, but also creating time. I feel like there's like a means to an end for both of that. I feel like
Yes.
you can't do one without the other.
Right. Exactly that. Exactly that. And so I used to do the rich rising calls every day, but I like to have time to recalibrate with myself. So that's why I no
Right.
longer do it with everybody the entire week. But I still do them on Mondays. Right. And it's
Mhm.
a way for people who are not yet a part of the community to kind of get an understanding of what's done in our community. But the Millionaire Mondays calls are at 5:55 a.m.
Yeah.
So I utilize angel numbers quite a bit in my pricing as well as my scheduling. So
Mm.
555, 5 is a number that represents change.
Yeah.
So I wake up at 555, right? And there was a book that inspired me, right? Because I like to read a lot.
Yeah.
So there's a book called Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod.
Right.
And it is a book that is about a man who had cancer, and he had to keep his mind positive, and he had to keep himself going to go to his chemo, to show up for his children, even though he was really, really depressed.
Right.
And so he utilized this miracle morning routine, and he no longer has cancer. And now he has a whole community of cancer survivors who are not keeping themselves down or burning themselves out, but every morning affirming to themselves, like, I'm healthy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm going to get better,
Uh-huh.
type of thing. And so I'll take you into what that miracle morning looks like. He came up with this saying called savers. So each of those letters represents something. So your S is silence. So we do meditation,
Uh-huh.
right? Then we move on into our affirmations. Money comes to me in expected and unexpected
Right.
ways, right? Because we want that to happen throughout our week. Then we go into visualization,
Right.
because we're working towards a goal. But what is the goal? What if we don't know what that looks like?
Yeah.
We need to know what that looks like so we can
Exactly.
understand when we're there.
Oh.
Like, you know, if you don't know what
Yeah.
the dream looks like, you would never know if you're living the dream or not, you know? And so we visualize. So that might look like us picking a country and then going to a little 5-minute vlog where somebody is showing all the different places. So when we're making our plans, we could say, okay, I want to go here. We've already visualized what that looks like, right? Then we get into exercise, because you can keep yourself in your bed until 2 p.m. if you don't get up.
Yeah.
So we get up. We get up, you know, and it's not nothing strenuous. So we do some chair exercises just like this, just sitting here, and we do reading. And so we'll pick a book, and there's a YouTube channel called 4-Minute Summaries. And it's like an animated series where they just break down the key concepts of a book. And then because I have still access to all of those books, people who want to actually read the book can.
Right.
Right? But really all you need to really know is like the main concepts within a book to get the concept, right?
Yeah.
And then we do scribing. So we do journaling, which is my
Mm-hmm.
safe space. And that, for the people who have been on the call as well as myself, they tell me that it's a completely different week when they do it versus when they don't do it.
Right.
Yeah, versus when
Uh-huh.
they don't do it.
For
So
sure.
yeah, I would encourage anybody who struggles with that to come on the call and just see how we map out our weeks and stuff, and it might help you.
Yeah, for sure. For
Mhm.
sure. I want to get on to the next question.
Mhm.
So, how much do you believe that in terms of like
Sure.
pushing resources, like disseminated, is vital for like creators and entrepreneurs? And like, why do you position yourself to like offer this practice? I know you kind of did touch upon just, how much impact that you bring, but why do you think it was something that, again, you got started with? Like, why would you feel something like that would be like, okay, I really feel creators and entrepreneurs, anyone of that sort, should be able to access these resources that's going to allow them to grow?
Well, I think it builds trust, right? And so I'm blessed to be living my ikigai. And remind me to explain what that is afterwards. But I'm blessed to be doing something where I don't care to be paid for it. So of course I would love to be paid. You
Listen,
know
we
what I
care
mean?
about
Because
the
energy,
the money and the income. I get it. I get
yeah,
it.
money is energy, so it should always be flowing. That's why it's a currency, right? So
Yeah.
like, but I'm blessed to love what I do. So I love being on the process that I'm on. So to share it and have people join me is not an issue. But I believe that if you're a person who is in a process of elevation, that you should take the ladder up and then pass it back down,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how we all elevate.
Right.
And our community is very, very kind of known for like the crab in the bucket mentality, or say individualism, where one person wants to make it, leave the hood or whatever,
Right.
and then they
Right.
don't come back.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely believe in taking the ladder up and then sending it back down so other people can come up with you.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
definitely agree on that sentiment.
Hmm.
It's important that we are uplifting each other, that we're
Yeah.
building that trust, that confidence, but also that unity within the Black community as well.
Yes.
Because a
And
lot of times it's hard to get to that place because we're so fixated on like making
hmm
it. And I think it's just based on like just the historical context, definitely how the system has been structured
hmm
against us. So obviously there's
right.
those indicators.
Yes, can make you very competitive, right?
Right,
Can make you
exactly.
competitive. If there's only so much people who do make it, can make you very competitive. But also too, I know that I am very blessed to have been through darkness to now be in light, but that there's a lot of people who are still in darkness.
Right,
Do you know
right,
what I mean? So if I have this light bulb and I can make things look clearer to you, and I can come and I can illuminate things a little bit more, or
right.
then I would. It'll
Mm-hmm.
be a lot easier for you to feel around if you have a little bit of light in your
Exactly,
own darkness.
exactly.
Yeah.
For
Hmm.
sure, for sure. So I want to go on to the next question. So
Hmm.
again, you mentioned this before. You are very active on Instagram, but like, I want to know if you have like any other social media platforms that you're definitely trying to push your
Sure.
resources and your different, pieces of information,
Sure.
and like,
Sure.
why do you feel it is important that it's not just Instagram, but you're getting in touch with so many different audiences that reside on these different platforms as well?
Well, starting a YouTube. Well, I have a YouTube channel. I want to be more consistent with it. So
Right.
my
No, you and me both. You and me both.
my son, my son wants to create a YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
So we do a lot of things differently, like this whole homeschool thing. Like he's very blessed to kind of see me going through the process. And so he
Mm-hmm.
has all these entrepreneurial ideas as well. And so because I get a lot of questions about the homeschooling thing, I really want to kind of document. And I was just saying that documentation is very important. A lot of
Yeah.
people don't have a visual to what homeschooling looks like, or
Mm-hmm.
what this lifestyle looks like. And
Yes.
so I want to add a visual. So YouTube, definitely, because I communicate, I like writing a lot.
Right.
So even in my chart says that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like it says that. So as much as I probably am the least comfortable with visual kind of
Right.
content.
Yeah.
Me, I love paper to pen. It could be because I love books so much, but I love writing, like
Mm-hmm.
poetry. I'm currently having a program where people are going to be writing poetry or
Yes.
songs.
Yes.
So it'd definitely be that.
Yeah, for sure,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. And like I know this is something you actually wanted me to get back to, but the Ikigai, I believe.
Ikigai,
Yeah,
yes.
definitely talk about that because like that was something that kind of caught my eye. Like, oh, Ikigai is
Yeah.
like okay.
Okay, so Ikigai. So if you look up Ikigai on Google, you will see kind of a Venn diagram. I'm a visual person, so I've seen this and it makes a lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
But Ikigai is a Japanese philosophy, and Iki means life, and then Gai means your worth. So
Oh,
all
okay.
together, it means your life worth, and or your life's purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And in Japan, they live very long. Like the women, I think they did a test and then the women were living up to like 88 and the men were living up to
Mm-hmm.
no, the women were living up to 89 and a lot of the men were living up to 88.
Yeah.
And part of that is their diet, but another part is the philosophies that they have, one of them being Ikigai. And so
Mm-hmm.
within Ikigai, there's four different parts. And so finding your Ikigai would mean that you find what you love,
Yeah.
what you're good at,
Uh-huh.
what you can be paid for,
Yeah.
and then what the world needs. And when you
Okay.
have all
Okay.
of those intersect is when you have Ikigai,
Mm.
right? So I'm doing what I love, I'm doing what I'm good at, I'm doing what I can be paid for, but I'm also doing what the world needs. And
Mm.
that makes me feel whole and like I'm a vital part of society
Yeah.
in that way, you know? And so that's what I help other people to find. What are
Yeah.
you good at? What do you love? What can you be paid for? And then what does the world need?
Yeah, and I feel like that's even something that for an entrepreneur, that's something that can even apply in terms of the work that you're doing as a business. It's like, what
Mm-hmm.
do you love? What are you good at?
Yeah.
Or do you want to get paid for this? Basically, like those
Mm-hmm.
aspects. Like, yeah, like I think
Yeah.
all that collectively comes together where
Mm-hmm.
you feel like, okay, yeah, this is like a
This
good
is
way
what
to
I'm
like,
supposed to be. I'm in alignment.
right,
I'm in
exactly.
alignment. Yeah.
I like that. I really
Thank
like that.
you.
It's called Ikigai.
Ikigai. Yeah. There's a
Okay,
book.
there's a book.
So you can go on well, you can message me and you can ask for the book if you want it, like download it. But it's on YouTube. So
Okay.
you can have the full audio book or you can go to the 4-minute books where we'll break it down in a short
I
video.
might put it in the description for everyone
Yes,
to check it
please
out because I
do.
think
Please
I
do.
think that right there is a very important tool. And like
Yeah.
again, I for these conversations, we even if it's not like something so groundbreaking, something as little as that
Yeah.
could really help someone if they
Oh
need that
yeah.
alignment.
Exactly. Exactly. Like
Yeah.
if you have any of those four parts that's out, that's why people are in jobs that they hate. You know what I mean? Because it's not what they love. It might not
Mm-hmm.
even be what they're good at. It's
Yeah.
just what they paid for. And it's definitely not what the world needs. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so, yeah, like for me, watching all of these things happening in the world, I know that as long as I'm fulfilling my ikigai, I'm doing all that I can.
That's really
I'm
great.
doing all that I can. So I can watch this stuff from a sense of, I know at least I'm doing my piece from where I'm at.
Yeah.
Because I know
Yeah.
I can't change what's going on
Uh huh.
in other places of the world, but the ripples that I can make is me and then the people around me, and then it'll eventually ripple out to
Yeah.
there. But that's the most I can do. So ikigai is important.
Definitely, for
Mhm.
sure, for sure. Okay, I want to get into this activity, and it's more of like an affirmation exercise and
Okay.
everything like that. I've never tried something like this on the podcast, so this is gonna be the first time, and I'm
Okay.
pretty excited. But I was asking if maybe you could lead us in that
Of
exercise for sure.
course, of course. Let me bring my millionaire manual. Okay, because you asked me what my favorite affirmation was, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So for my mobile millionaires that are listening to this, and I'll explain what mobile millionaires is. Mobile is the ability to make money on your phone, but also be mobile, have mobility, be able to
right.
go wherever you want, be
Yeah,
able to have mobility even through social classes. So that means being broke and then having the mobility to get
yeah.
rich. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I will share if you go to millionairemommy.org, people will be able to purchase a millionaire manual. And it is
Mm-hmm.
something that I use as a tool for my Millionaire Mondays calls. And there's a
Okay,
page of affirmations. And in my Rich Rising calls, I will have people pick 3 that they want to read and read
okay,
it for everybody else because I have my favorites, but it's interesting to hear what other people would like to affirm.
okay. Perfect, perfect.
Okay, and then these are the affirmations. So if
Okay.
you want to pick 3, as you can see, my favorite one is right here.
Yes, I see it. I see it.
Right? But you can pick 3.
Okay, so I had to get this some thought.
Give
man.
that some. Which ones pop out at
Oh
you?
my
You know?
gosh. Yeah, guys, I didn't think it would be. I thought it was gonna be like, okay, maybe I have to like repeat something. Oh, and that's
No,
wow.
You pick 3 that resonate with you, and I'd be very interested to hear
Okay.
what those ones are.
Okay, so I think I have my 3. So can I just like say it right now?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so the first one I have right here is I am an unfolding story, each chapter revealing more of my strength, resilience, and wisdom.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that one definitely resonates with me.
It hit, right?
Yeah.
Hit different.
Okay, so the second one is my positive affirmations for wealth are transforming my reality. I am a powerful wealth magnet.
Beautiful.
Nah, that's I feel like that's hitting my soul too, because like I'm definitely going through that journey where I'm trying to see what can I do with this podcast to make my own income, and sometimes you do need that affirmation, that positive. So it's like I'm a powerful wealth magnet, because like sometimes we tell ourselves like, am I really good enough to kind of sit in a room, whether it's like with investors or like pitch myself and get funding? Like I feel like this one is giving me a little bit of confidence.
Yes, and you see that would be a good thing before you go into the pitch.
Yeah.
Right? Like I had a workshop with Miss Rare. Shout out to her.
Yeah, shout out to Rare.
Shout out to Rare one time. And she was speaking about performance. Preparing some of our participants for their showcase, and she was speaking about making sure that no matter what it is, even if your time is now and they're telling you come up on stage, giving yourself a grounding moment before you do anything. And if you can't do 5 minutes, do a minute then. Do you know what I mean? And that's a minute where even if somebody's like pulling you, you say no. No, I'm standing right here. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. I love that. I love that.
So make sure.
Okay, yes.
And then the last one, let me see.
Honestly, I think the last one is your favorite. I do like the money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways. I welcome wealth into my life with open arms. Honestly, that one definitely hits, especially the expected and unexpected ways, because sometimes you are telling yourself like, damn,
it should only come from one way, not knowing all the universe has
exactly. And like there are times where like you get that maybe that unexpected payment, or maybe like someone offers you opportunity to do this,
or maybe you price tickets and you expect that people are going to pay $20 for ticket, and then you get a $500 donation.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and you're like, what?
That one is probably true too, because like if you're selling an event or like trying to sell tickets, and you're telling yourself like, it's not even just that, like 20 or 500 people are like, would people even pay for 20? It's just like, is that too much? Because like maybe you're a startup and you're like, okay,
and then
like,
you go in the room and you see it's full.
It's like,
and you're like, money comes to me and expect money to do it.
Yeah, for sure. So I like that. I like those affirmations for sure.
Dope.
Okay,
let me see. I will. Well, you already heard one, so I will pick one more.
Okay, perfect.
So considering that the pillars at the Millionaire Club is know, heal, and grow thyself, I will say power to heal, learn, and grow lies within me. Each day is a journey of transformation.
I love that.
And this is the first time I've done a podcast, so
really?
Yeah, I swear.
Oh, okay. That's like, listen, we made it happen. I honestly thought you would have been on like multiple podcasts at this point.
This is my first. This is my debut in podcast land.
I'm really glad that I'm the one being able to have this first podcast episode with you.
Yes, I'm honored too.
Wow. That's a special moment right there on the safe room right there. That's a special moment. Okay, yeah, that's perfect. Thank you for that little exercise. I think that's making me a little bit more happier, because I'll tell you this. When this episode drops, the time will go by, but I do have like this big pitch tomorrow, and your boy is freaking out. But like I think after that, it's natural. It's natural.
And what's comforting to know is like at whatever level, like even when I'm not sure if you were at the fireside chat, and the author of the 5-minute journal, and he was saying that even with him having multiple books in Indigo and chapters and doing quite a bit, that he had a keynote speaking event, and he went in the bathroom and he curled up into the fetal position and was having imposter syndrome, because the rooms you go in get bigger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you may always feel a sense of imposter syndrome because you are always elevated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're actually supposed to. You're supposed to be in rooms that make you feel uncomfortable, because how else would you
Yeah,
get to a bigger room if you don't get
that's true.
comfortable in that one?
That's true. That's
You
true.
know, and so yeah, just know that even people who you look up to or who are a part of the grant committee still get that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they had to apply for a bigger grant to be able to give us the smaller one, so
Yeah.
they still had to have that feeling too, you know. So
That's
don't worry.
true. That's so true. So true.
Hmm.
But yeah, thanks for the exercise. I really appreciate that.
No problem.
So I want to get into like this closing topic before I have like this final activity. So I want to talk about obtaining balance in your life. Now, again, you've kind of talked about your story, which is truly motivational,
Thank you.
everything that you've done so far. But
Mhm.
I want to ask you to like anyone who's trying to find balance in their life. Obviously, we all carry different stories and different backgrounds. That's what makes us unique people.
Mhm.
And I feel for yourself, you have such a unique tale in terms of just being a mother, an entrepreneur, someone who's kind of seen it all and like so resourceful. It's absolutely amazing. So I would
Thank you.
want to ask you, like, how would you help people or share like a piece of like a takeaway, just any takeaway?
Sure. So one of the things that finding your ikigai is going to help you do is find that work-life balance,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's because I found my purpose and because my work is so fulfilling, why it doesn't feel like work a lot of the time. You know what I mean? And it's kind of a beautiful thing where you can go home from a work day and feel full, like good feeling, not
Yeah.
a feeling of this person was talking to me and she must not know who I am to talk to me like that.
Right.
Like that
Right.
is not a good feeling to have. And so I think finding that ikigai is going to help you find that work-life balance. And if you have kind of exhausted yourself trying to figure it out on your own, even if you don't book a reading with me, there's several kind of free resources out there. And me being so resourceful, I can pass a lot of those to you. I'm working on my website right now to launch in 2024.
Okay.
And so kind of going to revamp the memberships a little bit. You can still join now. That will give you free access to the events that I have.
Yeah.
The closest events that I have coming up is part of my Know, Heal, Grow Thyself series.
Mm-hmm.
So for the Know Thyself, we're going to be getting into the Matrix movie. The Matrix, The Truman Show, Who Cloned Tyrone, and the
Okay.
Tavistock Institute of Human Relations. We're going to discuss how society and the media is a big part in telling you who you are.
I mean,
And it's
yeah.
it's a lot of the reason why we don't know who we are.
It's social norms, basically.
Okay, because
Yeah.
you look at the TV, and as a black man, you might only feel that you're supposed to do certain things.
Right.
Right? It may not be until you have a conversation with God and yourself that you realize, wait, I don't actually like basketball.
Yeah.
Like, wait, hold on.
Wait, whoa.
You know what I mean? Like, hold on. Like, I like to paint, actually. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And I'm good at painting, and my world needs this painting. Do you
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, that's what I would say is definitely make it a priority to get to know yourself.
Uh-huh.
And then once you know yourself, make it a priority to heal yourself.
Yeah.
And once you feel like you're healed, even though that's always a thing, it's always going to be a journey, make sure that you grow yourself. And you can
Mhm.
start by registering for the series.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. I love it. That's
Yes.
so important. Yeah, but yeah, you said a lot. You said a lot this
Yeah.
episode. So like I really appreciate you just like being open and being
Thank you.
transparent with some of the things that you're doing, especially again, you have so much different connections and resources. And I feel
Mhm.
like that's such a powerful tool in its own, being able to like connect. And I can
Mhm.
testify to this, guys, because I'm in one of your broadcast channels, the Millionaire
Mind
Mind
Tribe.
Tribe.
Mhm.
I'm telling you, like she sends like at minimum 10 posts a day, like minimum, you know.
Sorry.
And like,
Sorry,
no,
y'all.
it's not even. Don't even apologize. No,
Yeah.
no. Because if people want to tap into those resources, they wouldn't complain. Those who you
Mhm.
mentioned want to mute or this and that, I think it's just they don't want to actually grow or
Right.
see everything. Like
Yes.
obviously there are days where like it's like, okay, you're going a little too
Yeah.
ham,
Yes.
but
Yeah.
at the same
yeah.
time, like we're all gonna go through that. And
Right.
even for me, I have a channel, the TSR Safe Space,
Right. Yeah.
and I share things, but I don't hear anyone saying like, Sean, you're going too crazy. Like, what?
Because that's the thing. When you have a channel, when you are building a community and you allow people to join, somebody can't dictate what you put in that community. If you join somebody else's company or join somebody else's community, of course they can dictate what you say or what you don't say, right?
Mhm. And like even to add on, I would
Yeah.
even say too, if people had an issue of like what you do or like what you share, then because they don't see the vision or they don't support the stuff that you're doing. Because like
Mhm.
for yourself, people see the value that you bring and like the community that you built from the
Mhm.
ground up. No
Mhm.
one's gonna complain the fact that you post like 20 posts a day, because it's
Yes.
like, no, you have a right, because you've
Yeah.
shown like the
Yeah.
resumes there is the evidence to
Yeah.
back it up.
Oh, thank you.
So
Thank
like,
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's the truth. Because like,
Yeah.
obviously, listen, I would know if I met someone who's created a channel. I don't know what they do, and it doesn't seem like they put enough into it. Don't
Yeah.
be surprised if people are like,
Yo,
don't be
this is
sending me
too
like 5
right,
posts a day.
right,
Like, it's
right.
just too much. It's like,
Yes.
like maybe if you build within your audience and understand a little bit better,
Yeah.
then that's the case. Again, like
Yeah.
I've had Instagram for a long time, and like
Mhm.
I've only took it like serious the last 3
Yeah.
years for my podcast. Before my
Right.
podcast, I didn't really use social media like that.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
I guarantee right now, if I created a channel, obviously channels weren't available back then, but if there were,
Yes.
if
Yeah.
I created a channel,
Mhm.
I guarantee you people probably would have been hopping out, because it's like, I don't know you that well. It's
You've
not
been
because I
building
want to
your
hate you.
credibility.
Exactly. It's not I don't
Mhm.
want to hate you. I don't know you that much. But because I've
Mhm.
established myself, I can post these things and people are like, oh wow, like
Yeah.
this is interesting. Or like, oh wow, Sean really knows how to like get these resources and stuff like that. And I think that's something you have to, you shouldn't even apologize. I understand, like,
Thank you.
you know?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You touched on like branding there for a second. Like
Mhm.
being so consistent that people start knowing you for stuff.
Right.
So people used to call me the resource queen because they knew like holy, like just ask her. She probably knows.
I feel like you should keep that name in the back pocket. You should
Yeah,
have
the
mentioned
resource
you should have
queen.
mentioned that in the beginning, you
I
know?
know there's many. There's Visual Diva, there's
Okay.
Millionaire Mommy, there's the resource queen.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
yes.
Yeah, for sure. But
Yeah.
I really appreciate you
Thank
coming
you.
on. Taejah,
Okay.
thank you so much for
This is
coming on.
dope. I love this. I love this.
Yes.
Can I come back tomorrow? I'm just joking.
Listen, you're welcome to come back anytime. I know
All
we
right.
were having a conversation. You were talking about food and everything. So like,
yeah.
maybe we can
or
bring
when I launch the stuff for next year, my
Yes.
website and
Listen, like,
trading team.
if you want to come on and like promote, that's what we're about. So
Sounds good.
definitely let us know. But again, Taejah, thank you so much for
No
coming on.
problem.
Where can people find you on social media? I know you talked about it a lot.
They
but
can
just one
find
more
me
time.
at the 19 Keys event tonight. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. They can find me at Millionaire Mommy on Instagram. So there is an 11 in that username. So it's MI11 Millionaire Mommy. And then to get my LinkedIn, the YouTube. I also today's Friday. I do something called Frequency Friday.
Oh, okay.
So quick plug with that. If you are a music artist, I have a playlist called Millionaire Music.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all songs. I was listening to it on my way here.
Oh.
You know? So for these kinds of things, like you are an entrepreneur and you want a song that will be the soundtrack because you know you're the main character in your movie, right?
Right.
So if you want some theme music as you're doing your thing, Millionaire Music is definitely the one. Or even if you're feeling unmotivated, it might motivate you again.
Yeah.
And so I encourage, as much as there, you know, your Nipsey and stuff on there.
What song were you listening to while you're coming here? I'm just curious.
That's how I knew by Nipsey.
Oh,
Also.
Nipsey, okay.
And Smile, Mama Smile by Rick Ross.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But as much as I have Rick Ross and Nipsey on there, if you are a local artist or even you're just starting to get your music out there, it's a nice way to get your music to different audiences.
Yeah.
But high frequency vibes only. So there's no low frequency music.
Listen, there's a couple of artists that I listen to, local artists that I feel like we should probably talk after.
Yeah, sure. Tell them send it.
I'm all about putting
Tell them
people
send
on
that.
for sure.
And I pick a song every weekend for Friday Frequency or Frequency Friday. I highlight a song that's on my website. So my website is millionairemommy.org.
Okay, perfect. I'll put that all in the description. But Taejah, again, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, and thank you for everyone listening to The Safe Room. Make sure that you check out all our episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review, give us 5 stars. We're trying to get the numbers up, okay? I'm on a mission. Like the year's about to end. 2024. I'm trying to make this like really go international. Like get those numbers up, so it would really help. And who knows? Like you'll probably see some new things along the way, probably before the end of this year. Who knows?
Some merch. We're gonna see some merch.
Maybe some merch. I mean, there's a lot of things in there, but there's
the tales of being an entrepreneur.
There's some. I will say this. There's something it's set. It's just to get in the final date, and once it's
got you. I'm looking out for that.
Yeah,
I'm
so
looking out for that.
but again, you can find us as well on Instagram at the Safe Room Official. We're gonna be on YouTube more often, so the Safe Room Podcast is where you can find us, as well as TikTok at the Safe Room Official as well. It used to be TSR Podcast, but I decided, you know what, I'm gonna make it easier for myself and just make it all the Safe Room Official. So
Dope.
go check it out there.
Dope.
We'll be posting content soon. And yeah, thank you so much again. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, my pleasure. Chick-fil-A's
pleasure.
vibes. Chick-fil-A vibes.
Yes.
All right, perfect. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys next time.